Hey y'all, I am back with my very first traveler's notebook process. And at first, I was not going to film this, but as you can see, I've already stamped something out. And what I did was I decided to go ahead and turn on my camera and start filming because I didn't know whether or not I would like the outcome. And I figured if I did, or whether I did or didn't, I wanted to kind of share that process. But I thought if I really liked the outcome, I definitely wanted to share it. So. Um, what I've done is I've stamped the word foodie, and these stamps are all from the story stamp kit Eat from Ali Edwards, and I've punched out the circle. I punched out a little scratch piece of circle, and then I had stamped the food for the win and the heart in the middle. Now I've taken a piece of pattern paper and I just sized it to I think like 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 maybe. And I am just simply going to, and that looks kind of bigger than three, maybe it's 8 1/4 by 4 1/4. I can't really remember, but I basically measured the dimensions of the traveler's notebook and tried to get it um, as close to the edge as possible. And it's okay that I left a little gap. I'm actually fine with that. It didn't bother me at all. And so what I decided to do was pull from this story kit that was all about Eat. And so I pulled one of the cards, and I have the digital kit, and so I'm not afraid to use the cards because then I can just like reprint them, which I love that if you subscribe to the story stamp and the story kit that you get the digital kit for free. And so I thought that was a steal, and so I decided to do that so that I could print as many icons and cards as I want, and you can change the color of them in Photoshop and whatnot. So right now I'm looking for a scratch piece of paper to type up my journaling. I used a piece of washi just to put at the top of that card, just to kind of make it look like it's flowing or it's floating, with like hanging by the washi, even though I have adhesive on the back of the card. And I really love, going back to the very first page, I really love how simply that turned out. Um, and now I'm ready to adhere my journaling. So I have them in strips, and I've seen people do this before, and I really love the way they turned out. A couple of names that come to mind are Victoria Calvin. She types up her journaling like this, and I really love the way that that turns out. And then also Retro, it's Andrea is her name, Andrea Gray, but her YouTube is Retro Hip Mama, I believe. And anyway, I really love the way that her traveler's notebook processes come out, but I also love the way Victoria's scrapbook processes come out with the strips of journaling. So I am gonna find a little piece of scratch paper from my stash, and I found a cork piece. It's not real cork, it just looks like cork of pattern paper, and I love that paper. I've had that in my stash for a while, and I'm just gonna offset that a little bit and then adhere it to the page, and then I'm gonna stick a little tag um, behind that cluster. It's not really a cluster, it's just the photo and then the pattern paper, and then I'm gonna layer the tag right behind it, and then I'm gonna add my journaling. And I don't do a whole lot of embellishing, and I think that's part of the reason why I had such a blast creating this, is because I think it was just so simple. It took like 13 minutes, um, and I was pretty much done, and I really liked the way that it turned out. So I'm gonna adhere the journaling, and I realized with the journaling that I talked a lot about the banana bread. So one of the reasons why I have this photo, this is a screenshot from Pinterest because I was pinning all types of healthy versions of banana bread. I don't know what it is with banana bread, but I absolutely love it. And I wrote how much I was pinning it, but I never wrote about how I'm loving to bake different types of banana bread too. And so that was one thing that I realized I needed to add in. And so I went ahead and typed up more journaling to add to the left-hand side so that I could note that, hey, I'm also baking too. So when I look back at this later on in life, I'll be able to know that I tried out some of these recipes. So I'm going to simply add that on top of some pattern paper and then add it to that left-hand side. So I wasn't sure about the placement on that. I fiddled with it a little bit, putting it on the right side, maybe at the top, and then that really wouldn't have gone well because that needs to be below the journaling that I've already placed on the page. So what I decided to do, just go ahead and put it on the left side, even though You may read the first page and then go on to the right side, but that's okay. It didn't really bother me. And that's one of the reasons why I love this process so much, that I just kept telling myself, just don't worry about it. Like, who cares? It's your traveler's notebook. That, and that's one of the reasons I love being creative with scrapbooking, is there's really not a wrong way. And so I'm loving all the different kinds of scrapbooking you could do now, like Project Life and traveler's notebooks and art journals and all kinds of stuff. And so I really think it's come a long way. Lastly, I felt like at the top needed something. So I'm going to stamp that little canister thing, and then I'm going to add a little heart on the inside. And that pretty much sums up my page. I really had fun doing this. I will share my next process with y'all, and I hope to see you guys soon.